option. We have to act.
On the same day, President Biden took executive action to restrict migrants seeking asylum in this country. Arizona Republican lawmakers make a controversial move of their own.
Will put a huge stop to a number of rapes, murders, getaways, sex trafficking, fentanyl deaths, terrorists, child abuse, extortion, and cartel violence.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. President Biden says he is now taking action at the southern border because Republicans in Congress failed to pass a bipartisan border bill. While in Arizona, lawmakers today cleared the way for a controversial immigration measure that will now go before voters. We begin tonight's immigration coverage with Fox's Rebecca Castor in Washington, D.C.
This was the U.S.-Mexico border near San Diego Monday night. More than 200 migrants from countries in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East looking for Border Patrol to start their asylum process, but not before taking selfies in front of the clearly unhindering border wall.
I've come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border.
After months of calls to take action on the border, President Biden did just that Tuesday, signing off on an order that will temporarily shut down asylum requests if the average number of daily encounters tops 2,500, which is happening right now.
But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States.
I talked to President Trump this morning, and he says this is a scam and people will see through it.
Biden officials say the border will shut down at midnight, but critics are not convinced this action will help.
This plan does nothing to stop the asylum abuse, does nothing to stop the parole abuse that this administration has done.
This is too little, this is too late, and the American public knows it's too late.
Biden's executive order comes as polling shows voters think Donald Trump would handle the border better. But Democrats blame the former president for stopping Congress from passing new border policy earlier this year.
The president is left with little choice but to act on his own.
President Biden's executive order will likely face legal challenges. The ACLU already announced it will be filing a lawsuit. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And for more perspective on President Biden's executive order, we talked with Bill Hing, a professor of law and migration studies at the University of San Francisco. He said the president is under intense pressure to take action at the border.
This is an opportunity he's taking to basically close down the border using a little-known provision, Section 241F of the Immigration Act, that in fact President Trump had used as well in invoking the Muslim ban. And the Supreme Court said 241F can be used if the president thinks that there are people at the border that may be causing danger to the United States.
And Professor Hing says immigration advocates are likely to challenge this order and argue in court that the process of allowing people to apply for asylum does not threaten U.S. security. Meantime, voters in Arizona will be weighing in on an immigration measure on this November's ballot. The state's Republican lawmakers, though, are taking some heat for the way they move this measure forward. Fox 10's Steve Nielsen was at the state capitol in Arizona as protesters shouted complaints outside of the House chamber's closed doors.
Chairs in the gallery sat empty. No applause, no cheers. Speaker Ben Toma closed the House to the public.
There were members from this very chamber colluding with them to cause chaos in this building today. I am not okay with that.
But in the lobby of the House, you could hear it all.
And the public place where we're able to go see what our government is doing got shut down.
Back inside the chamber, the House voted on party lines to put HCR 2060, or the Secure the Border Act, on the ballot in November, bypassing the governor's desk. Nearly every legislator spoke, Republicans.
But it will put a huge stop to a number of rapes, murders, getaways, sex trafficking, fentanyl deaths, terrorists, child abuse, extortion, and cartel violence.
It's a disgrace what is happening in our country.
And the Democrats.
When I took office, I swore
to defend the Arizona Constitution.
I grew up in fear. HB 2060 will continue to allow this type of fear to fester in our communities and our mixed status families.
The bill would make it a state crime for non-citizens to cross the border anywhere other than a port of entry. It means local and state police could make arrests and Arizona judges could order people back to their country of origin. Some estimates peg the cost to enforce in the hundreds of millions. Republicans say it was necessary because the Biden administration has failed.
The Constitution is quite clear that the enforcement of immigration laws is a federal responsibility.
Back to the lobby. Democrat State Rep Annalise Ortiz spoke over the sound.
It drags us back to the dark days of SB 1070 when so many of our mixed status families have to live in absolute fear and terror.
And that was Fox 10's Steve Nielsen reporting tonight from Arizona. That upcoming ballot measure is similar to a Texas law that has been put on hold by a federal appeals court while a legal challenge is being considered. We turn now to talk about our weather here, and the heat is on across the west with temperatures soaring today. Here's a live look at downtown Phoenix, where it was over 100 degrees today and probably still quite warm there in the valley. And that's not the only place that's heating up. The San Francisco Bay Area is seeing some unseasonably high temperatures. Some inland communities there reached triple digits today. People are being urged to stay out of the heat or the direct sun, and of course to drink plenty of water.
Hydration stations, fountains, concession stands, making sure that there's appropriate shade. We have indoor areas that people can cool off on if it gets too hot, and as well as hundreds and hundreds of umbrellas out here to keep people nice and cool.
All right, for more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking this significant warm-up across the west. And Mark, how long is this going to last?
Well, Wednesday and into Thursday, Alex, and then we will see some changes by Friday. But take a look at some of the highs from this afternoon. A lot of triple digits out there, as you can see in Arizona, over 100 degrees for Tucson. And in Phoenix, Palm Springs, 105 degrees, Las Vegas, 103, and up in Northern California, Sacramento, 102 degrees. And, of course, the Bay Area, those temperatures close to 100 degrees. So all these areas in red right now, excessive heat warning up and down California, as you can see out into portions of Southern California as well. And then we have heat advisories closer to the Bay Area for today and into tomorrow. Take a look at Seattle, though. No heat here, just a sun-cloud mix. Temperatures in the lower 60s, 62 degrees. And in San Francisco, mostly clear skies. A beautiful day. It was warm, just not hot, 74 degrees. But as you do work your way closer out toward the inland valleys, those temperatures upper 90s to right around 100 degrees. And then this was the Phoenix area today, 104 degrees, and even some hotter temperatures in their forecast over the next several days. Here is a satellite where you will not find any major storms, as you can see. Some clouds and a few showers up in the Pacific Northwest, but it's a fairly quiet weather pattern, and it remains in place. In terms of rainfall, as you can see, there's a big area of high pressure keeping things dry, but also really heating up portions of the west, and it will stick around into your Wednesday forecast. Showing you the Phoenix timeline today, 104, could be warmer than that, as you can see into your Wednesday forecast. Lots of sunshine and some hot temperatures, 107, 108 degrees for tomorrow. So that's a serious heat, and you have to be really careful because it could really sneak up on you. So here is the plan over the next several days, your 3-day forecast with looks like a sun-cloud mix up in Seattle. No major heat here in San Francisco. It's a warm Wednesday, and then we'll scale back on the heat by Thursday and into Friday. Southern California, some patchy morning fog, but increasing sunshine into the afternoon hours. It's warming up out toward Denver, 93 degrees. Those low 90s stick around over the next several days. But, of course, look at this, the projected numbers possibly in the Phoenix area. We could be warming up those numbers into Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. So, yeah, that's the real dangerous heat yet to be prepared for. And, unfortunately, that will be something to track over the next several days for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, some real dangerous heat there. Yeah. Mark, thank you. Southern California sheriff is stirring up controversy with an Instagram video in which he reiterates his support for former President Trump following his felony conviction. In that same post, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco also takes a swipe at California Governor Gavin Newsom and the state's criminal justice policies.
Instead of letting them out of jail and giving them alcohol and drugs and everything else, I think it's time we put a felon in the White House. Trump 2024, baby.
Sheriff Bianco's post was a complete endorsement of Trump for president. He's issued a statement on that post saying this is no longer about Democrat or Republican. This is about good versus evil and the future of our country. Now, we did ask Governor Newsom's office to comment on the sheriff's criticism of California's crime policies. The office issued a statement saying in part, quote, since the governor took office in 2019, California has expanded resources to fight crime, hire more police, and improve public safety. The sheriff's endorsement comes ahead of former President Trump's 3-day fundraising swing through California. We've told you about this. The Trump campaign says the trip will start Thursday with a private event in San Francisco. The next day, Trump will attend a fundraiser in Beverly Hills, and another fundraiser is planned for Saturday in Newport Beach. Vice President Kamala Harris is also set to visit California this week. She's planning to participate in a discussion at a venue in San Francisco known for hosting political events, and she will also be attending a fundraiser at an undisclosed location. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, a Nevada woman wants you to learn from her mistakes.
It's embarrassing to come forward and say that you fell for something like this.
Coming up tonight, she describes how a phone scam sent con artists to her front door. Team officials with the Oakland A's say they want to play a certain number of home games away from their new ballpark in Las Vegas once the team makes its expected move to Southern California. According to the Nevada Independent Journal, A's president Dave Kaval says the team wants to play neutral site home games around the country to help build the franchise's brand and attract players and sponsors. The team is proposing about 10% of the home games be played elsewhere. That's about 8 games. The Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board is slated to vote on the arrangement on July 18th. Major League Baseball is handing down suspensions to players for betting on baseball games. Oakland A's relief pitcher Michael Kelly will have to sit out a year for placing bets on several major league games while he was in the minor leagues. Also, the MLB has banned San Diego Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano for life for placing hundreds of bets on games between 2022 and 2023. 3 other minor league players have also been suspended for 1 year. The former interpreter for LA Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani pleaded guilty to fraud today. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf was inside the courtroom as Ippei Mizuhara admitted to stealing millions of dollars from Ohtani to pay off his gambling debts.
Excuse us, please. The ex-interpreter for Major League Baseball star Shohei Ohtani now pleading guilty to bank and tax fraud charges.
The fraud was deep and the fraud was extensive.
Ippei Mizuhara pictured here next to his attorney inside the federal courtroom Tuesday in Santa Ana, where he admits to stealing almost $17 million from the Dodgers slugger.
Whether he chose to go to trial or pleaded guilty, we were confident that the evidence will ultimately show Mr. Mizuhara victimized Mr. Ohtani.
Got him. In 2018, federal prosecutors claim Mizuhara helped him set up a bank account. Then, using that password, the ex-interpreter changed the contact information to his own and would impersonate Ohtani while speaking with bankers.
So I never bet on baseball or any other sports.
Mizuhara told the court Tuesday, I worked for Ohtani and had access to his bank account, and I had fallen into major gambling debt. And the only way that I could think of was to use his money. I had access to Bank A, so I went ahead and wired money for my gambling debt with his bank account. Is there any indication that Ohtani was aware or knew any of this was happening?
Mr. Ohtani is considered a victim in this case. It is clear from the evidence that he did not profit from this, he did not benefit from this. He, in fact, was harmed substantially by this.
In the air, left field, hit deep. Major League Baseball now announcing an end to the investigation involving Ohtani and Mizuhara, while the Dodgers say they're pleased the team can put this situation behind them. In a statement, Ohtani tells Fox 11 the guilty plea gives him closure, adding it's time to close this chapter, move on, and continue to focus on playing and winning ball games. Ohtani with a base hit to right field! Mizuhara leaving court Tuesday surrounded by cameras. No, we don't have any comment. He and his attorney refusing to answer any questions. Mizuhara faces fines up to 33 years in prison, even deportation. Sentencing is scheduled for October 25th. Reporting in downtown LA, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Now to a wildfire burning in the San Francisco Bay Area, and CAL FIRE says the Corral fire is now 90% contained. We told you about this fire last night on the show. The size of the fire near Tracy is holding steady at a little more than 14,000 acres. Firefighters say weather conditions have become more favorable for those crews, allowing them to make progress building control lines. One home has been destroyed in this fire. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused it. In Arizona, firefighters say they are making progress battling two wildfires northwest of Phoenix. The most challenging fire right now is the Spring Fire. It's burning in a forest area, making it difficult to fight on the ground. Firefighters say resources brought in to fight the flames from the air have been helpful. This fire has grown to more than 4,000 acres with no containment. Then there's the Adams Fire, burning about 50 miles south of there. So far, this fire has burned more than 5,000 acres, and it's 30% contained. Investigators believe both of those fires are human-caused. An investigation is underway tonight in Southern California after a home invasion robbery at a vacation rental property. It happened early this morning in East Hollywood. Fox 11's Haley Winslow talked with neighbors about this troubling crime.
Zip ties, handguns, rifles, and held up by 5 armed men in ski masks. Seeing the burglars, he shut the door and they escaped out a side window. Their 6 friends from Minnesota, also inside this East Hollywood home, tied up and cleaned out, robbed of their cell phones, cash, purses, and suitcases. This family cleans the newly renovated 4-unit vacation rental on Heliotrope and Rosewood.
They're always busy. They're always packed. They get rented like by every night.
But had no idea what happened here a few hours after they left.
This is where the home invasion happened just after 4 o'clock this morning.
But it's scary because we're always here just yesterday we were here until like 1 in the morning.
LAPD detectives believe it could be an inside job because the burglars had taped the security cameras and knew how to sneak in.
We were here and we heard people jumping in and we saw someone but they ran out.
Really?
But
what did it look like?
It was like a young boy, but
That's
just
crazy.
before that, someone had tagged up the side, like right here, and it was like if they were like claiming, we're not sure, but it has been an issue where people have been breaking in, but we thought we took care of it. We have cameras. They have cameras everywhere.
But cameras weren't enough to stop yet another home invasion on a gated property in a place where neighbors used to feel safe.
This street is pretty quiet, so yeah, that's pretty weird.
It's very disheartening and unfortunate that it happened in our neighborhood, and we're hoping for better days to come.
In East Hollywood, Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Cameras capture a heated confrontation between California park rangers and a yoga instructor.
9 spots that are set up at Mission Bay. He could actually. We have the right to do it here, buddy. Do you know that? Hey, easy. I want to make sure you understand that. Back up for me. I want to.
Coming up tonight on West Coast Rap, why authorities say they have to shut down Namasteve's beachfront classes. Also, a scam disguised as good customer service, how phone calls are sending con artists to people's homes. A jury has ordered Johnson & Johnson to pay $260 million to an Oregon woman who says she got cancer from using the company's talc powder for decades. According to Reuters, it's the latest award over accusations the company's products expose customers to the cancer-causing mineral asbestos. Johnson & Johnson issued a statement saying the verdict is, quote, irreconcilable with the decades of independent scientific evaluations confirming talc is safe, does not contain asbestos, and does not cause cancer. The company is planning to appeal. Now to video being shared widely online that shows park rangers in Southern California arguing with a yoga instructor who's leading a class in public right along the waterfront.
So we're having an assembly here. We're having an assembly.
So you're arresting him right now. What is your charge? He's detained. You need to have a charge. I'm detained.
It's a false arrest.
This Instagram video posted on Sunday shows Steve Hubbard and his supporters arguing with park rangers in San Diego's Pacific Beach. Hubbard has become known in the community for conducting donation-based yoga classes in a park right along the coast. City leaders say the classes are being conducted in violation of vendor laws. Hubbard argues being cited for his classes is a violation of his First Amendment right to assembly and expression. Several yoga instructors in the community say they intend to file a lawsuit against the city over this issue. We turn now to an elaborate new scam that's hitting people all across the West, and it starts with just a phone call. Fox 5's Molly McBride shows us how scammers are following up that call with a knock at the door.
It started with a call with her bank's caller ID.
I was at home and I got a call letting me know that there was suspicious activity on my account.
Sure enough, when she looked at her online banking account, she found 2 fraudulent charges totaling thousands of dollars. That's when the scammer said they had to secure her account immediately.
He went on to explain to me that due to the high amount of fraud that's been going on, that they would have to send a courier to pick up my card.
And within less than 10 minutes, that so-called courier arrived.
The gentleman showed up at my door and he had the passcode.
I have your access card here.
And unbelievably, I opened my door and gave him my card.
After the card is handed over, the scammer pulls out a pair of scissors, chops the card in half, and then puts her card in an envelope. The card's chip isn't damaged.
I really thought, because they were already in my account, they had my information, I didn't give them my address, they confirmed my address with me.
Now, this whole time, she's still on the phone with the original caller. But a couple minutes after she handed her card over, she gets fully locked out of her online bank account, losing access to it completely.
That's when I realized, I said, I'm in trouble here. Something's not right with this. And I just quietly hung up.
Now she jumps into action, calling her real bank, closing her accounts, and changing her passwords. $9,000 later, she's hoping her story serves as a warning before these scammers strike again.
It's embarrassing to come forward and say that you fell for something like this, that you opened your door and handed something so valuable to a complete stranger. The bottom line is, if somebody calls you, just hang up.
Molly McBride, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
Finally, tonight there is outrage over plans to clear thousands of Joshua trees in California's Mojave Desert. The Los Angeles Times reports those trees will be coming down to make way for a huge solar project that will provide power to thousands of homes all across the area. The Times reports the project has angered many low-income families in Kern County who live near the proposed solar facility. Those neighbors say they were never consulted about dust from the project's construction work and other potential health hazards. Fox News did not get an immediate response when it reached out to officials with Kern County for a comment on that project. And that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And before we go, a reminder you can stay up to date on all of the big stories happening across the West that we are covering. It's all at our website, westcoastwrap.com. You can also stream our shows right there on your smart TV. All you have to do is download the free Fox Local app. We leave you with a beautiful shot of downtown San Francisco on a warm evening. Have a great night.